You are tuned into Local Motion here on 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel at Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR, as well as giving a like on the Facebook page. So thrilled to welcome today to the show. Let's get him on the line. Willie, are you there?
I'm here, Rita. Nice to hear your voice.
It's so lovely to hear your voice, too. Thanks so much for your time here today. I'd like to do a brief introduction, if I may, sir. I will start off by saying, quote, the unofficial poet laureate of New York City says, uncut. Elmore magazine says, quote, Jersey has Bruce Springsteen, but New York has Willie Nile, unquote. With a career spanning more than 4 decades, veteran singer-songwriter Willie Nile has a long list of admirers, including Bruce Springsteen, with whom Willie has guested on a stage, Pete Townsend, who requested him as the opening act on The Who's 1980 tour. The list also includes Bono, Lou Reed, Ian Hunter, Little Steven, Lucinda Williams, just to name a few. Pop Matters says, quote, the epitome of real true American rock and roll, unquote. Willie will be bringing his band to Town Crier Cafe in Beacon this Saturday, February 12th. We'll be giving away a pair of tickets to that show after this conversation. And with that, a whole warm welcome to Local Motion, Mr. Willie Nile.
Well, thank you, Rita. Very nice to be here. Thanks for taking the time and for saying all those nice words. I mean, obviously those people don't have any sense of what good music is, but I'll take this. I'll take their kind words.
I remember seeing you for the first time a few years back at the Falcon in Marlboro, and I think my jaw might have fallen down to the table because you blew me away. Your heart and soul was in that performance, and I think that's the case every single time you get on that stage. So, Willie, you give on one hell of a show, and I can't say it enough. If people haven't seen you live, they've missed out on something.
Thank you. You know, I've always said that I've made like 4 records in the last 5 years and 9 albums in the last 12. And I always say that I don't just make records to make records. If I don't think I have something special, the songs are worth it. If I don't think it's what's going to happen on stage is going to be special, I won't do it. I won't waste anybody's time. You know, the music is meaningful to me. It inspires me. Life is hard for everybody. Yeah. And the music, I've always loved it. It's always, you know, enlightened me. There's redemption in it for me. There's sanctuary there. And so when I go on stage or when I make a record, I want to put music down that's going to inspire people, you know, that's passionate, that's meaningful, whether it's funny or serious or about love, loss, whatever. You know, it just means something to me. I'm not just, I mean, fame was never in my sights. You know, making a living, I'd love to be stinking rich, make no mistake, but the fame thing, the glory thing, I never was into that. I could care less about that.
Right, and that comes true. You're the real deal, man. You are the salt of the earth. You are the real McCoy, and that comes through every performance. And, you know.
After shows, when I always go out to thank people for coming, sign CDs or whatnot, and they're always elated. I want people to leave feeling way better than when they came in. Yeah. You know, that's what it's about.
It is.
I've already called the fire department, warned them we're going to burn the place down on Saturday night, but we'll build it up before we leave. And I mean, I've got one of the great bands on the planet. You know, with all humility, Johnny Paisano.
I love the way he jumps up in the air and stuff too.
Oh, Johnny!
He gets airborne.
Johnny's always in flight, and the thing that amazes me about the band is, and because I give everything I've got, every song, and that they do too. It's just it speaks to me about the songs. They believe in the music, but like nobody phones it in. Right. You know, if you're going to see one of our shows, whether it's a solo show. You know, this Saturday is with the band at Town Crier. You know, on the 18th, it's at the Linda in Albany. I'll be solo, and at the turning point at the Town, you know, at the turning point
in Piermont,
19th in Piermont. You know, it'll be 2 solo shows, and I'll be playing stuff that some people know, some stuff I've never played before, new stuff, old stuff, I was sitting at the piano at my father's house the other day. My dad's 104.
What?
And knock on wood, he's doing great. Yeah, he's doing great.
104.
Yeah, I know. That. So I'll be rocking for a lot more years.
Yeah, you are.
If there's any truth in genetics, and I was playing the piano. I remember I was playing the first song I ever wrote. You know, I may play that one of these shows.
Tell me what it was.
It's about a song called Chlorine.
How old were you when you wrote it?
She's real clean. My Chlorine. Yeah, it's totally ridiculous. It's surreal. You know. Anyway, how old was I when I wrote it?
Yeah.
Maybe 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
I wrote poetry. I wrote poetry first. You know, in high school, I related to the poets we were studying, and so I just started writing, you know, stream of consciousness stuff, and took piano lessons at an early age. And I just I learned to play the guitar, and my roommate in college had a guitar, and there was nothing to do in the middle of Ohio. I went there 1 year, and I just started. All my stuff went into songs at that point. And
now, did you go to SUNY Buffalo, or where you sit?
I went to SUNY Buffalo. The first year I was in Walsh College in Canton, Ohio, because I goofed off in high school. I could get by just without paying any attention. Mm-hmm. And when it came time to get into college, my grades weren't good enough. So I went to the guidance counselor, and he goes, "Well, they just built a college in Canton, Ohio. They have a new dorm, and they need students. So all of us losers." The dormitory was full of like troublemakers and losers, and it was a blast. But then I got straight. I got 4.0 average. I transferred to the University of Buffalo and really loved it there.
And you studied philosophy there?
You know what? I just studied stuff I liked. I had no goal. I was going to go to New York when I was done trying to make records. So I just took classes I liked, a lot of English classes. It turns out I took a lot of philosophy. Uh-huh. And in my senior year, I went to my guidance counselor for the first time. In my senior year, I said, "How am I doing?" He goes, "You're a philosophy major." I go, "Oh, that sounds heady. That sounds cool. What can you do with a philosophy degree?" He said, "You can go to graduate school." I went, "I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to New York to make records."
Oh,
but I just took courses I liked.
And you grew up in a pretty musical household. Your grandfather ran an orchestra. Is that right?
Yeah, my dad's father, for over 20 years, was an orchestra leader in vaudeville, and he worked at the post office during like 6 days a week and 7 nights a week. He would come home, have dinner, put a tux on, and he had like an 8-piece orchestra during vaudeville.
Wow.
And I've heard great stories about it. My father used to go like 3-4 nights a week, and he told me about these guys making elephants disappear and seal acts and comedians and movies and yeah, I mean, he was a great piano player.
Wow.
And I saw him one time. He would throw a white sheet over a piano and play the keys through the sheet.
Is that something? Wow. How do you do that?
I don't know, but I saw him do it when I was just a little kid, little toddler.
Is that what made you start piano lessons, or did you get lessons with him, or no?
Well, my older brothers played. My uncles played. One of my uncles was a great ragtime piano player, really great, Uncle Ray. And the parties at our home, there was a lot of like an Irish American household, and the parties are really boisterous and fun, and always the music would be duets, thumping, playing Scott Joplin, all kinds of great stuff, boogie woogie, and my brothers brought rock and roll records home, so it was always music in the house. And I grew up with the music around me. I loved it. And seeing the Beatles on TV, like many a musician and just changed my life. I went, oh, that looks like fun. And boom, left turn I made.
So many people that I have talked to, over 300 now on this show alone. I can't tell you how many people said, and I guess what? I think tonight, and I'm not kidding, I think today might be the anniversary of when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan.
No kidding.
I think it is. I think we're like within a day or so of that anniversary, because I saw something online and it was like, yeah, today's the day that changed my life. And it was another DJ that said it because that's when she heard the Beatles, and it was like, oh my God, yeah, the Beatles. And I think tonight might be the anniversary.
It followed the previous November was the assassination of President John Kennedy.
Right.
And, there was a real sour mood on in the country. It was really it was just very sad, and all of a sudden along comes these 4 guys, laughing, joking, making music, having the time of their lives, and it was infectious. Yeah. They lit a fire
Right.
that spurns to this day, and inspired so many musicians and people. Look what you're doing. It's like those people who saw, music touched a lot of us. Your listeners, how many people listening were touched by music in such a way that it just picked them up, it inspired them. You know what? Maybe this could be a more meaningful life. Maybe it could be a kinder, gentler world. Maybe we could bring peace. I remember when the Peace Corps, when John Kennedy, started the Peace Corps, I thought, oh man, what a great country we are, helping people, and rock and roll, it's healing.
Music is the universal language, isn't it? It's like whatever country you go to, you listen to music and you don't have to speak the same language. You are just on the same level.
When I go to, I've been touring in Europe a lot since the early 90s. Every year, numerous times, since like 92, I think it was. And I'll be in a country and they might not understand some of the language. I mean, I can a little bit I can speak a little bit of different languages, not a lot, but they can tell a phony a mile away.
Oh yeah.
You watch somebody playing on stage, you can tell if somebody's full of themselves and they think they're so great. And who wants to see that?
Right.
And they can also tell somebody who is giving it everything they got.
Right.
And music is universal language.
Absolutely.
And I love it. I'm grateful. Not a day goes by that I flew in yesterday from Milan. I mean, literally. This afternoon
Milano.
I was so tired. Well, yeah, oh my God. I was up in the Italian Alps.
Oh, isn't that one of the most beautiful places on this planet?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like going there is like heaven.
It really is. I remember when I worked for a company and I was in Dornbirn, Austria, and two ladies that worked there, we went to Milan for the weekend and we drove from Austria through those Alps, and I think I had tears in my eyes because I felt like this could not be real. Yeah,
it seems like you're close to heaven or something.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
I flew over them yesterday. I had I took videotapes, I took photographs of these incredible mountains. And
put them online. Would you put them on your social media?
Oh, that's not a bad idea. I will do that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. Good
Nice.
idea. Thanks,
Nice.
I will.
Yeah. Cool. So Willie, you went from Buffalo and you're a New Yorker, man. You were born here and then you went down to the Village, and that's where it all started for you, right?
Yes, born in Buffalo, raised there, family of 8. I was lucky. I had a really good family, loving parents, and a very cosmopolitan. We had a lot of foreign students, like by a lot, I mean hundreds.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
A lot of visitors. Yeah, well, it's a long story, but it showed me that whether people dressed differently or spoke differently or ate different kinds of food or worshipped some different deity or whatever, that people were all human and we're all brothers and sisters on this planet.
Yeah,
I grew up in that kind of a nurturing atmosphere. Came to New York City and where I am now, I love New York. I mean, there are songs crawling out of the cracks in the sidewalks, oozing out of the alleyways. It's just crawling with inspiration from me to this day.
Isn't it beautiful?
I love it more now than it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, I made an album 2 albums ago called New York at Night.
Yeah. And
a number of songs about New York. They're songs inspired by the city. I love it. I mean, I'm still writing. I'm as inspired now as I was when I first came here so many years ago.
There is no place like it. Tell us about CBGBs.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a believer. I'm just a believer. And CBGB, so I would play open mics. Wherever there was an open mic, I had no money. I was poor as a church mouse. And I would play open mics solo. But I was singing rock and roll songs. I would play Kenny's Castaways, and I would jump off the stage. I would introduce imaginary players behind me. I said, we got Moby Dick on lead guitar and Will Shakespeare on bass. Just having fun with it. And then I looked in the paper one day, and there was the Village Voice, and there was this place called CBGB. And I thought, I liked the ad. So I took my guitar, walked over Bleecker to the Bowery, and walked in, and went up to the bartender. There were 2 old guys drinking at the bar, and there was a woman behind the bar. And I said, who do you talk to get to play here? And she said, well, that would be Hilly Crystal. That would be Hilly. He's in the back. Just have a seat. So I got a beer, sat down. About half an hour goes by, and nothing. So I went over to the jukebox, and I'm at a great jukebox at CB's. It was the best jukebox in the city. And I noticed that the last two songs on the jukebox were by this guy named Hilly Crystal. And I thought, how many Hillys are there? So I put like $4 of quarters in, and I played the same song over and over. So I sat back, and I just waited. And after about the 10th time the song played, out from the back comes this grizzly bear-looking man. Clearly, I've disturbed his sleep, and he was ornery and like, what the hell? And I said, you must be Hilly. He goes, yeah. I said, I like your song. I said, how do you get to play here? And he said, just jump up. This is before it was a punk mecca.
Wow.
It was, at that time, there was a black jazz pianist playing every night, and he was a professor at City College. So he said, get up on the stage. I played a couple songs. He goes, you're hired.
Oh, my
So
God.
I played there a few times, and it was like a couple months later that Tom Verlaine and Richard Lloyd of television went in and asked if they could, take up shop there, and that's when that started CBGB's. I went all the time. I would tell my folky friends, you got to go to CBGB's. There's these guys playing in ripped up clothes, original material. It's really great.
And
it's like Hamburg.
Patty Smith was there too, right, at that time?
Patty Smith was there as well. Yeah, I used to go see Patty. Television would open up for Patty Smith.
Wow.
It was just the glorious times.
Wow.
Patty lives like 2 blocks from me. I walk by her house today on the way to the post office.
Oh, she just performed up here in the Hudson Valley too. She's something else.
That's great.
And what a writer she is too. I just read one of her books. It was captivating.
Terrific.
Yeah, absolutely.
She still has magic. God bless her. Yep.
Absolutely, 100%. And Kenny's Castaways, you got a residency there and discovered by a New York Times music critic. Is that correct?
Yeah, Don Hill, who was a club owner for years down here, at the time in 1978, when Kenny's, I think came there at 77. So at 78, I thought, well, I got to start playing out. So I went to Kenny's. I auditioned one night, and Don Hill saw me, and he told Pat. Pat wasn't paying attention. He said, this guy should play here. We should hire him. So they did. They hired me to open up for someone, and when you play Kenny's, it'd be 6 nights, 2 shows a night.
Wow.
And I built quickly. There was a buzz around my performances, and I played in March and in every 5 weeks, and then July I was playing that for a week, opening up for a buddy of mine, and Robert Palmer was a critic for the New York Times, and he called Don and said, "Look, I want to come by and see the headline. And what time does it go on?" And Don said, well, he goes on at whatever time. He says, but you want to come early and see the opening act. I think you'll like him. And he did. And I remember being on stage. I'm playing there solo, introducing imaginary characters, jumping off the stage, just having a good old time. And I see this guy about 3 rows back, these spectacle, had glasses on, looked like a, bookworm. And I go, he's clearly digging it. And only after I was done they said, well, it's Robert Palmer. He wants to meet you.
Oh, wow. And what he wrote, from what I understand, he said, quote, the most gifted songwriter to emerge from the New York folk scene in some while, unquote.
Yeah, he compared me to, Gene Vincent, Buddy Holly, Bob Dylan, but it was really if we sat around and tried to come up with the most outrageous positive review, we couldn't have done better than that. And when that came out on a Friday, it was so packed there. It was people that knew me.
Wow.
Totally looked at me differently. It's amazing what print does.
Yeah.
They looked at me like I was from Mars. And I'm still just me, still singing the songs. And Clive Davis came down, all these record companies. The first night,
amazing.
I'm stepping off the stage. I played my first set. I'm stepping off the stage. I wasn't even off the stage. This guy comes up and gives me his card. He goes, "Hi, I'm Paul Rothschild. I manage the Doors."
What?
The Doors. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was the eye of a storm, overnight, and I signed the following week with Arista Records.
Wow.
Yeah, you never know. I always say there's something to be said for believing in your dreams and giving it your best shot, and I'm still doing it to this day.
You still are.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I'm a believer, and I'm having more fun now than I ever did.
And you are, because you're not stopping. You've come out, it seems like almost an album every single year. You've got some amazing of your latest work that's come out. You just released The Day the Earth Stood Still, and wow, the video that goes along with that, by the way, is
That came out great.
It gave me goosebumps, quite honestly. And that was released in August of 2021. Tell me about the cover. I mean, that's why I don't do downloads. I love the physical CD. Tell me about the cover artwork.
I like the physical CD as well. And I would say this, I'll tell you in a second. I would say that anybody listening, if they don't know my music, if you go to YouTube and just put Willie Nile, The Day the Earth Stood Still, that video, that tells you all you need to know, and you want to have a good time, I dare you to come out. And if you don't love it, I'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
So I'm not kidding about that.
I know.
If you're not blown away, then you should get your money back.
Right.
So the album, I knew I was going to call I wrote the song The Day the Earth Stood Still during the middle of lockdown. New York City was a ghost town. If you'd have told me that it was going to be like on a Friday night, rush hour, that there was going to be like rush hour. I just came back to the post office, and it's already like traffic is like blocks. It takes 40 minutes to go 3 blocks. And on Friday night, 6 o'clock, forget it. Well, at the end of May 2020, I went to my storage space, which is right up half a block from the Midtown, or the Howard Tunnel. And I stood in the middle of the street. I looked uptown, not a car or a person in sight.
Wow.
Looked downtown. I took photographs. I go, this is nuts. I could have laid down in the middle of the street. Nobody was there, and I thought, man, The Day the Earth Stood Still, like that old sci-fi movie. That title came to me. I wrote the song quickly. As soon as I wrote it, I knew that this is the title of this new record. I was working on putting the songs together. I knew I had a collection that was forming, and I wrote it, and it's got one of my favorite lines I've ever written. When the ABCs of logic meet the CEOs of greed, and the SROs of loneliness cry out and start to bleed, there comes the time for judgment, the time to pay the bill. And that is just the way it was the day the earth stood still. I mean, we're all going through this nightmare,
Brilliant,
right? And
brilliant.
That's all. Oh, thank you. And the video. So the video came out great. So the album cover, Christina Aragoni is this great, great Italian photographer who I married like a year ago.
Oh, sweet! Congratulations.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm on the moon happy. I'm a lucky guy. She's amazing.
Oh.
And so I asked her what, she said, I have an idea for your cover. There's a street artist. His name is Johan Figueroa Gonzalez. He's in Puerto Rico, and he does this living statue thing. He's usually in Washington Square Park when the weather's better. Sometimes across from the Metropolitan Museum, but Washington Square Park is usually his place near the fountain. And he'll freeze. He'll stand on a pedestal. I mean, how he even gets on it? He's shorter than I am, believe it or not. He's a small guy, and he's like a Cirque du Soleil performer. He's not a Cirque du Soleil performer. He's like that. He'll freeze. He paints his body all white, and he'll freeze in a pose. And if somebody will put money in his tip jar, he'll blow him a kiss in slow motion and then assume another pose. The two best street performers I've ever seen are Philippe Petit, who in the early 70s would be every Sunday at Washington Square Park. Philippe Petit's the guy who walked the World Trade Center on a high wire.
I saw the movie about that.
And actually,
what?
Came to see me. He was that's a good friend of mine. He was at the Town Crier when I played there in October.
Oh my gosh!
He came by, loved it. I mean, he's a special guy, and I'm going to tell him when I see him next about Johan Figueroa Gonzalez because he's just brilliant and his spirit. Anyway, so those. Christina said Johan as soon as she said that because she took these amazing photos of him, frozen in these positions.
Yep.
And it's just fitting for the day the earth stood still.
It really was. And I was like, I can't wait to talk to Willie about the cover of this. When I saw it, it really brings it all together. We're going to play a few tracks from your new album because you also feature Steve Earle on the next track that I'm going to play.
Steve Earle lives like literally 3 doors from me, and we've become friends over the years. And I'm a huge.
Now
fan
wait a minute, you got
Earle.
Patti Smith, you got Steve Earle, and you got you
and little Steven.
Come on.
I mean, Steve Earle is literally 3 doors from me.
What?
Patti Smith's a block and a half, and Steven is 2 blocks the other way. So it's like it's still a rich, interesting community. And so we were mixing the album, and I have this song called "Blood on Your Hands." And I thought, you know what? I thought one night, what if I'd love to have Steve sing on this. And so he brings all his street credibility It took him 10 minutes. He just went in there, boom, boom, done, and brings this gravitas to the song. And it was a real honor for me. I love Steve, and a very huge fan and admirer of his, and to have him on the album is a real thrill for me. I love Steve, and I'm deeply grateful that he took the trouble to do that.
And Willie, also a really great video with you guys as well, so that people can go out to YouTube and look for Willie Nile, Blood on Your Hands, featuring Steve Earle, and subscribe to your channel and all that good stuff, and the website too, willienile.com. But more importantly, from any of this stuff is I always encourage people to support live music, especially over what you guys have been through we all have been through the last 2 years. And with all these venues
last year,
closed.
When COVID hit, we had one gig in August. It was outdoors. One gig.
Wow.
In my band, you got musicians that make their living playing live,
Right.
And this year we've been playing a bunch of shows, it's gotten better, and it's starting to get better now again, which I'm thrilled about. This Thursday, it's the Town Crier in Beacon.
Saturday.
I said, Saturday at the Town Crier and Beacon, and on the 18th we're in the Linda in Albany. The 19th is at Turning Point in Piermont, and April 1st in Marlborough at the Falcon.
At the Falcon, yeah. I just saw they just announced that show, so I was going to bring that up as well. And I'll keep playing your music in March to lead up to the April show. And that's where I met you a few years back, was at the Falcon. So, we're going to give away a pair of tickets in a few minutes to the show this Saturday. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody listening, if you're not busy, if you want to have your spirits lifted, come on out, because I always say we're not kidding, but then I go, no, we are kidding. We're not fooling around, but we are fooling around.
Right.
It's fun, it's deep, it's meaningful, and I promise you'll walk out way happier than when you walked in. So I can't wait.
I can tell you something, Willie. Your spirit is so contagious. I've been having so of a day, and then looking forward to talking to you, but actually talking with you, you just brightened my mood just by talking with you. And
thank you, Rita. It's my pleasure.
And just to see you up on that stage, I'm going to play 4 tracks. We're going to play 2 from your new album, and then 2 from New York at Night album. So, and we're going to give away a pair of tickets. And
bless your heart.
Willie, you are the real deal. You are really as good as it gets. And that quote that I read was so damn correct. Jersey has Bruce Springsteen, but New York has you, Willie Nile. So
some people exaggerate, but I'll take it.
Absolutely. Take it. And I do hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to seeing you. Stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. You make the world a brighter place, Willie. So thank you.
Thank you. You take good care, and I hope to see you soon. Let me know if you come to a show. I'd love to say hello.
I absolutely will do that. Thank you, Willie.
All
right. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Willie Nile. WillieNile.com. We're going to play some of his music. We already played 2 tracks at the top of the hour, and I'm ready to give a pair of tickets away to go see this gentleman. Who wants to go see Willie Nile this Saturday at Town Crier? Give us a call. You and a guest. So there's a pair of tickets that'll be up for grabs to the first caller here at the station. Here's the deal. Town Crier has COVID safety protocols. You must be vaccinated to go. You're going to have to show proof of vax. And that's that. Towncrier.com is the website for the info about that. The show with Willie is this Saturday night. And that means it's the 12th. The 12th of February, this Saturday. You and a guest can go see Willie Nile at the Town Crier, and all you got to do is give us a call here at 845-437-7178. I haven't even given off the number yet, and the phone is lighting up. The phone is lighting up. You must be 21 to go. You got to be available to go Saturday. Don't just call to win tickets. Really go. And Town Crier in Beacon, Willie Nile. Let's keep the music flowing here right now with some of Willie's music. This is called Blood on Your Hands, featuring Steve Earle off the latest album, The Day the Earth Stood Still by Willie Nile, 91.3.
Well, you can dance with the devil, and you can run with the Lord, and you can buy all the glory that your conscience can afford. Yeah, but there will come a day when the pony gets played, when the goose gets cooked, when the piper gets paid. Blood on your hands, blood on your hands. There's cracks in the walls of your best laid plans. Blood on your hands, blood on your feet. There's bodies piling up down on Good Luck Street. You can do the boogie woogie and the hippie hippie shake. You can paint the town red, you can call the truth fake. Yeah, but there will come a time when the whip comes down, when the papa is king and the king becomes a clown. Blood on your hands, blood on your hands. There's cracks in the walls of your best laid plans. Blood on your hands, blood on your feet. There's bodies piling up down on Good Luck Street. Hi, hi, yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 Heaven can't count all the times you've tried to fill your pockets with your foolish pride, and numbers can't count all the tears we've cried, but hell will remember all the times you lied and lied and lied and lied. Blood on your hands, blood on your hands. You can't wipe it off with your one-night stands. Blood on your hands, blood on your hands. There's little old ladies dying in the heartlands. Blood on your hands, blood on your hands. There's cracks in the walls of your best laid plans. Blood on your hands, blood on your feet. There's bodies piling up down on Good Luck Street. Hi, hi, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, hi, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, hi, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, hi, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. I have a winner. Everyone can not call anymore. Michael from Poughkeepsie. Pretty excited, I'd say. He won a pair of tickets, and he and his wife will be going to Town Crier to see Willie Nile this Saturday. Tickets available at at towncrier.com. And yes, you can also obviously go to willienile.com. So Willie is this Saturday at Town Crier. He'll also be performing at the Linda, if you're in that area, on February 18th. I believe that's a solo show. And then he'll be at Piermont at the Turning Point on the February 19th, and just recently announced at the Falcon in Marlborough on April 1st. So all of his shows coming up are kind of here in kind of the Hudson Valley. So, yeah, go out and see some live music. It's back, folks. It's back, and it needs your support. Congratulations again to Michael from Poughkeepsie for winning a pair of tickets to see Willie Nile. Let's play more music. The last track we just heard was Blood on Your Hands featuring Steve Earle. That's all from the new album, The Day the Earth Stood Still. We're going to take a listen to this next one as well. This is called I Will Stand, also from the new album. Let's take a listen right here, right now. 91.3 WVKR.
When this world weighs on your shoulder, when your burden makes you blue, when you can't stand up any longer, darling, I will carry you. I will stand with you in the darkness. I will stand with you in the light. Take my hand, climb on the mountain every day in the middle of the night. When your moon is always hiding, when your ship is lost at sea, when your heart's always colliding up against this mystery, I will stand with you in the darkness. I will stand with you in the light. Take my hand, we'll climb on the mountain every day in the middle of the night. Come to me, I will dry your tears. I will hold you close when you disappear. Every week, every month, every day of the year. With this ring, my heart I offer. With this prayer, I say I do. With this kiss, may you remember always what I'm telling you. I will stand with you in the darkness. I will stand with you in the light. Take my hand, we'll climb on the mountain every day in the middle of the night. I will stand with you in the darkness. I will stand with you in the light. Take my hand, we'll climb on the mountain every day in the middle of the night. Every day in the middle of the night. There's a hound dog howling at 53rd and Park. There's a cop car prowling in the 80s after dark. There's a red light blinking on 42nd Street. There's a party going on, you can hear the heartbeat of New York at night. New York at night. Everything's alright. New York at night. Take a bite. New York at night. I went into the subway and it felt just like a dream. Saw a fella going by covered in whipped cream. Take a train to Grand Central or an overcrowded bus. There's room on any corner for every one of us. New York at night. New York at night. Come on, see the light. It's New York at night. Take a bite of New York at night. Electricity is flowing when the sun goes down. There are joints that are jumping all over this town. The city calls out like a freedom song. If you're feeling blue, you won't be for long. New York at night. New York at night. Everything's alright. It's New York at night. Take a bite. New York at night. Come on, people! There's a rave going down on the Upper West Side. There's a taxi uptown that'll take you for a ride. It's Technicolor in black and white when you're out on the streets of the city at night. New York at night. New York at night. Come on, see the light. It's New York at night. Take a bite. New York at night. New York at night. New York at night. Everything's alright when it's New York at night. Take a bite of New York. See the light in New York. It's alright. New York at night.
Run, run. Don't go walking. Run to go see Willie Nile. New York at Night. Title track from the album he released 2 years ago. We also heard I Will Stand from the new album, the latest release, which is called The Day the Earth Stood Still. Again, congratulations to Michael from Poughkeepsie, who won a pair of tickets to go see Willie Nile this Saturday at Town Crier in Beacon. Tickets still available at towncrier.com. And it's 5:50. You are tuned into LocalMotion. If you missed part of that interview or want to hear it again, it'll be uploaded tonight on the LocalMotion YouTube channel. Please consider giving it a subscribe by just a simple click, as well as giving a like to the LocalMotion on 91.3 WVKR Facebook page. We're going to keep the music flowing now with more Willie Nile, and this is from the album New York at Night. Let's take a listen right now to Run Free, 91.3.
chase that sky for the mystery, 'cause there ain't no chain got a hold on me. It's why I breathe. I gotta run free. 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 I'm gonna chase that sky for the mystery, 'cause there ain't no chain got a hold on me. It's why I breathe. I gotta run free. I'm gonna raise my head, gonna climb that wall, gonna hear those bells on freedom's call. It's why I breathe. I gotta run free. 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 I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta run.
91.3 WVKR, Willie Nile, Run Free from his New York at Night album. Whew. I'm telling you, rock and roll at its finest, live performer. I swear he's so good. And like he said, money back guarantee. So if you go to the Town Crier on Saturday and you don't like the show, go up and see Willie after the show. He does come out and say hello, and just tell him you didn't like the show. I dare you to. And really mean it, because I don't think that could possibly happen. Again, congratulations to Michael from Poughkeepsie, who won a pair of tickets to see Willie Nile this Saturday at Town Crier. Tickets available at towncrier.com, and that's town spelled with an E, crier.com. And yeah, Saturday night, the place to be, Town Crier, to see Willie. I'm going to say that I'll be back next week from 4 to 6, which is the normal thing to do here on Wednesdays with LocalMotion. I really look forward to hosting Stephen Bernstein next week as my guest. In 2 weeks, I'll be joined by Professor Louie. In 3 weeks, by David Barron. And I also have 2 really special guests in March. I haven't announced it yet, but what the hell? There's no time like now. Returning for the, 6th or 7th time. Thrilled to welcome back Mr. Jorma Kaukonen on LocalMotion on March 16th. Stay tuned for that. Whew. I love talking to Jorma. It truly feels like Christmas every time I get to speak with him. And also just confirmed Bruce Molsky for March 23rd. So we got a great list of guests coming up over here the next couple of months. So again, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel at LocalMotion, as well as giving a like on Facebook. Going to go out with one more track of Willie Nile, because how could you not, right? And I hope to see some of you at the show, willienile.com. He'll also be at the Falcon in Marlborough on April 1st. So if you can't make it Saturday to Beacon, consider going April 1st to the Falcon in Marlborough. So I'll be back next week. And until next time, I wish you all peace.
Well, baby, come on, let me take you out tonight, where the music is pumping and the lights are bright. The whistle blows and the workday's done. We're gonna get the party started and have some fun. Meet me after midnight, baby, don't be late. Down around the corner at the Empire State. The kids are getting down up in the Bronx tonight. Times Square's lit up like a broad daylight. They're kicking out the jams down at Old Bay Ridge. The joint is really jumping on the Brooklyn Bridge.